afternoon and evening. This is Theatre with Freedom Reigns. And back by popular demand, we have a special guest with us who needs no introduction. We will let his flute playing introduce him. Okay. Go ahead.
This is Willy Whitefeather, and I'll tell you some stories. And, of course, I always say don't believe it because it's got the word lie in the middle, and I don't want to lie to you. We've all been lied to enough. And so come on in and sit by the campfire. I got the campfire going now. You can hear the flames crackling in the background. And I'll give you a little flute music to kind of balance your spirit a little bit. Okay, and I'll send you all love, everybody who's listening, because we're in a time of change now. And so I'll play a little of my flute. Well, come around the campfire, pull up a log, and I'll tell you some stories.
Aho, Willie. I am so glad you're here.
Well, thank you. I'm glad to be here. And I'm sitting up here on this mountain, and I got a herd of deer, and the blackberries are starting to go out, and the winter food's coming in. I follow the deer around. I eat what the deer eat, and the pine needles are full of vitamin C, and that's what we need for our bodies. Long ago, there was no words between the trees, the plants, the animals. Most of the elders in the tribes know the stories. And so my dad's side, the Cherokee side, the Salakeanianwea, the people principal, and my mother's side of the family, they're from Buenos Aires, Argentina. Así me da mucho gusto hablar con ustedes. I'm very happy to talk with everyone. So I walk in two worlds, and I see the time when the condor and the eagle will fly together, and everybody will get along. We all have one thing in common right now. We are breathing in and we breathe out. Right. And the ocean comes in and the ocean goes out. And so that's the blood of the Earth Mother. You taste your blood, it tastes like seawater. And so,
right.
So when you go to the hospital, the first thing they do is they stick a bottle of saline solution, like seawater, into you. During World War II, the wounded were given plasma because on Iwo Jima the medicals had run out of blood plasma, and so they were pumping seawater into the wounded. There's 46 minerals in seawater and 46 minerals in human blood, and so we're coming into a time now what the Christian people call the 46th Psalm, and that's the time of earth changes. So we want to be still in our center, and don't we see a lot of destruction around. Be like the eye of the hurricane, and don't worry about anything. Just know if you got a good heart, you'll be in the right place at the right time.
Mm-hmm.
Because the ones that don't have it, the people that don't have no love for people, the only thing they worship is their own technology. And that's why the last world went down in the flood, you know.
Right,
But so you can look,
Yeah, I was going to say, on the last time you were here, you were telling us about the cities going down, the pyramids and all.
Coming up.
I know.
Because,
now they're coming up again.
So surely one day they'll see their old temples come up out of the sea. And those are the tons on the Mayan, Aztec, Cherokee calendar. And the tons are on the great stone wheel of the Aztec and the Mayan. And so our Mother Earth is tipping north to northwest. And so the color of the west is black, white to the north, yellow to the east, red to the south. There are 4 colors of corn. Make a fist and look at the back of your hand. You can see the 4 mountains sticking up. Red, yellow, black, white. Yeah, New Mexico, Colorado, Arizona, Utah. And that's a circle with a cross in the middle. And so the song to remember, because when the imposing belief came on the boat, everything had to go underground. So the song is our Mother Earth tips, and you can hear the tones. And so it goes like this. Surely one day they'll see their old temples come up out of the sea. And it goes tippy, tippy, ting, tippy, ton, tippy, ton, tippy, ton, tippy, ton, 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 tippy, tippy, ting, tippy, ton, tippy, ton, tippy, ton, tippy, ton, ton. And the tons go around the wheel, the stone. And so that was sung by Shirley Temple. And, and her husband is Cherokee, and her name was Shirley Temple Black, and she lived in the West. And so you cannot break that, see? And so on page 20 of the book of the Hopi, I spoke with Frank Waters on this. Frank Waters passed away a few years ago. When I went over to New Mexico, and I spoke with his wife, Barbara. And so I'm going to give you a little bit of what the Creator said to the tribes on the shore of this 4th world. And that's why all things are happening in 4s right now. And so as the waters, so the people came across the water to this 4th world. And as the people watched, the closest island were the stepping stones that the people came over on. And then one went under the water, then the next, until all were gone. And see what Sept name. I have washed away even the footprints of your emergence, the stepping stones which I left for you. Down on the bottom of the seas lie all the proud cities, the flying Patuvotas, and the worldly treasures, corrupted with evil, and those people who found no time to sing praises to the Creator from the tops of their hills. But the day will come, if you preserve the memory and the meaning of your emergence, when these stepping stones will emerge again to prove the truth you speak. And this was the end of the 3rd world, Kuskurza, and in parentheses, an ancient name for which there is no modern meaning. But my publisher spoke fluent Russian, and I asked him, do you happen to know what Kuskurza means? And he says, well, yeah, that's corn in Russian. So, knowing my roots, the 1st world, because of no love and apathy, was purified by volcano, by fire. So we have the red corn to remember. The 2nd world, because of no love and coldness of thought, the 2nd world was purified by ice. And so we have the yellow corn to remember. And yellow in Spanish means ice. The 3rd world, because of no love, went in the water, into the ocean, the salt water. Now, when you take corn and you soak it in salt water, what happens? It swells up, and it's called hominy. And look at today, because of what they're doing to people with our food. They're putting genetically modified things in our food, and people are swelling up, like hominy. And they're greedy. How many can I have? Hominy. And now we're on the 4th world. Yeah, we're on the time of the blue-black corn, and we have a black president. His mother was part Cherokee, and there's blue corn on the store shelves, and we have the blue sky. And so we've come full circle, because the corn is the only food that you can eat. You have to eat in a circle, not like a banana or cucumber. So what goes around comes around.
Right.
So.
Yep, exactly.
Did I tell the story about the old man sitting on a log in the forest?
No, I don't believe you told that one yet.
Well.
But I'd love to hear it.
Okay. Now, you folks be comfortable around the fire, and I'll tell you the story. Now, this is known by the tribes. They always say, don't believe it. Don't believe none of this. Just look for yourself. What did Shirley MacLaine say? She says, there's three kinds of men you should not believe. One who is in love, a man who is drunk, and a man who is running for office. So, don't believe it. So, long ago, there was an old man sitting on a log in the forest, and he was very sad. The animal came around him, and in those days, the trees, the plants, the animals could all talk together without any words. And they said, why are you so sad? And the old man said, I wish I had good ears. I wish I could hear things far away, long distance. And so the deer said, very well, I will give you my ears. And so the old man took the ears of the deer and never said thank you, and he was still sad. And they said, why are you still sad? He says, I wish I could see. I wish I could see far away, long distances. I wish I could see everything from far away. And so the eagle said, very well, I will give you my eyes. And so the old man took the eyes of the eagle and never said thank you. And he was still sad. And they said, why are you still sad? And he said, I wish I was strong. I wish I had great strength. And so the bear said, well, very well, I will give you my strength. So he took the strength of the bear. And he never said thank you. But he was still sad. And so the great horned owl said, I'm going to fly around this man, said to the animals, and I'm going to find out why he is still sad. And so the owl flew around the sad man. He went around and around, and he studied the man. And then the owl came back and said to the animals, I found out why this man is still sad. He has a hole, and it is a hole that can never be filled. And so the animals, they went away from the man. And look at today what man is doing to the earth. He's blowing holes in the earth and making bigger holes. And now we get what we asked for. And so in Louisiana, at the place called Bayou Corn. There's your corn again. Bayou Corn, Louisiana. There's a great sinkhole. It's about 2 or 3 football fields wide. It's over 100 feet deep. And it's over a great salt mine that the government has stored a lot of propane and oil and things like that. People who have computers have told me about this big sinkhole. Now, what's interesting is this sinkhole is opposite Iran. So if you have a world globe, put one finger on southern Louisiana and put the other finger on Iran, and they are opposite. So if we make a war and blow a hole in Iran, I would keep an eye on that sinkhole in Louisiana. Also, now I understand the six-pointed star people are gathered in Israel to make war, and Israel is opposite, Yellowstone. So I hope we all can make good prayer and the third shaking of the earth does not happen, because that's on the Hopi Prophecy Rock. There are 2 circles on the path of the Creator, and then the path of man comes down and joins the path of the Creator. And just past that line that comes down and touches the path of the Creator is a third half circle. If that half circle is completed, that'll be the third shake of the earth. And the only life that continues on is the man who plants his own corn with his digging stick and his walking stick. And you can see that on the Hopi Rock. near Kiskotsumovy village. The three mesas of Hopi stick up like three ribs on the Earth's mother.
Right.
Spell the word rib out loud in English. Spell rib.
Rare?
Rib.
Oh, Rib. R-I-B.
That's the name of the village. See? Listen. Rib. R-I-B. That's the name of the village on Second Mesa. It's older than St. Petersburg, Florida. How do they know that? Well, the scientists and archaeologists went over there with a chainsaw and they cut through one of the ceiling beams in one of the old houses made out of stone. And they said, why, this tree is over 4,000 years old.
Right.
So the official name is Sept, or IB, which means the place where the ocean came to. And down below, the Navajo people, the Dene, the people principal, the Dene, the Navajo, they say, yeah, that was the soft earth. And you can see the dinosaur prints at Keams Canyon. They put yellow paint beside that, and the soft earth hardened into rock. And so you can see it. And so now they want the yellow gold. And the gold comes from rocks and stones. And like the banker said, we made more money in 1 month of war than we have in 11 months of peace. And so yellow stone, they're liable to get what they ask for. You think we don't want to do another war. We don't want to see any more wooden boxes with American boys coming home with an American flag over the box. So the women are going to come in and they're going to say, stop it. You gals are going to do it.
You're right. Right.
Well,
hey,
your ship is coming in.
Willie, somebody just posted a link a few minutes ago in the chat room where there's actual evidence that the pyramids are in fact rising. But of course they're saying that it's all HAARP related. The HAARP is causing this to happen. And they talked about the great energy fields coming from there.
Yeah, well, HAARP is hurtful actions always reverse permanently. See, the corn is a circle. What we put out comes back. And so they shouldn't mess around. But those cities were known that they would come up so that people would have them computers. They can look at pyramids, Antarctica, and see that. And then watch the one on the Bermuda Triangle. It's going to come up. And that's why the Illuminati and that bunch put the pyramid on the dollar bill. Because,
right.
Well, yeah. So anyway, that's...
Right,
so
right.
So to bring that story about the sad man sitting on a log, he wanted to be able to hear long distance, so he took the ears of the deer. So with the telephone, we can hear long distances. We can hear people talk from around the world. And we hold this thing up to our ears, see? Now, to hear in Spanish is O ear, the circle, O ear. And your ear is the shape, if you stand on your head like a little kid, your ear is the shape of an embryo in the womb of the earth of the mother. Huh? And so he took the eyes of the eagle. So the man built satellites. So now he can look down upon the earth and he can look at other things and he can look at the planets and the stars and he can see all these things. But now we have a syzygy coming up. A syzygy means an alignment of earth, sun, moon, and we also have 3 other planets lining up, plus Nibiru, or the one they call Planet X, and it's lining up. And so now we're probably going to see some earth changes. Because at San Diego, California, they're getting a smell like sulfur. They've had over 600 mini quakes over there by Brawley, California, which is a couple of hundred miles from San Diego on the San Andreas Fault. And in Mexico, there's an evacuation quietly of Ensenada, Mexico, because and you can see that on the computer, evacuation of Ensenada, because the Mexican scientists sent some divers down into the ocean floor right there on the coast of Ensenada, which is only about 60 miles from San Diego, California. And the cameras they had on the ocean floor went all bollywoggled. And so the scientists said to the divers, bring us back the film. So they brought the film. The scientists took one look at it, and they said, holy mackerel. And they called for scientists from all over the world to come over to this big secret meeting at Ensenada, Mexico. And two women snuck in, and they overheard what the men were talking about, and they spilled the beans, because there's something there on the ocean floor that could be catastrophic. And so now they say that there's steam plumes coming up by the Salton Sea. The mud is bubbling, sulfur fumes at San Diego, and also lava coming up on the road in Mexico. So that's how a volcano comes up. Yeah, because in 1947 in Mexico, a farmer was plowing his cornfield, and all of a sudden the ground got really hot, started steaming, started shaking, and a volcano came up right in the middle of a cornfield, and now it's about a 900-foot-high mountain in Mexico, right out of the middle of a cornfield. So you never know what's going to come up. And we have a rabbit in the moon. So watch the full moon, because that's a strong pull on the Earth Mother. Half moon is cause, that's female cycle, ovulation. Full moon is effect, menstruation. So man go boom on the half moon, Mother Earth goes boom on the full moon. The Victorian era of greed goes out. That was the beginning of the Trail of Tears, the Victorian era of the Cherokees. My great-grandmother was on the trail, 17,000 taken from Tennessee to Oklahoma, 1,000 miles in the middle of winter. And so that would begin on in Congress, May 14th, 1828. Took 10 years to get the Cherokees off the land and put them in concentration camps. And 4,000 died, 17,000 were taken. Adolf Hitler, in his autobiography by John Toland, Hitler said, this is a good way to get rid of people. I think I'll try it. So he built concentration camps, Auschwitz, Dachau, Treblinka stockades, and put the six-pointed star people in them stockades. And the Cherokee have the seven-pointed star. So I have an extra point to make, you see. And so now we got a full moon coming up the night of the 28th and 29th of September. Now, as an example, let's take a look at Mother Earth. It's called an antipode. An antipode means when there's an explosion or something happens on one side of the Earth, an equal reaction happens on the opposite side. That's called an antipode. Okay? Now, on the half moon of December 2004, a suicide bomb truck goes through the wall at a mess hall where our soldiers were eating and blew the place up, boom, and broke all the plates, of course, and killed all the fellas. Now, on the man go boom, earth go boom. Now, on the following full moon, that was the Christmas full moon, December 2004, a 9-point earthquake broke the plates in the Earth Mother on the ocean floor off the coast of Sumatra and created a tidal wave which killed 30,000 or 300,000 people drowned. Now, the men didn't want to say nothing because they didn't want to look foolish, so they didn't want to give a warning. You know, guys don't want to look stupid. There's a tidal wave coming, and if it didn't happen, because all the European visitors were at Indonesia basking in the sun and what all. So the ocean went way out. Now, before a tidal wave, the water goes way out and gathers up all the water it can And then the people all walked out on the wet sand to pick up unusual seashells and stuff. And they looked up, and here's this 100-foot high tidal wave coming at them. Okay? Now, the tribes in the area, they knew to go to high ground, and so did the animals. Even an elephant was seen push little children ahead of it. Animals have compassion for people because of the old knowledge, you know. And the tribes, they knew that the water was coming. So we have see we're separate from the earth. We don't pay attention to the earth anymore. Trees and plants all have feelings. They proved it that a tree has feelings. And the way they did it was like this. Picture a long room about 100 feet long and 30 foot wide. There's a door at the north end, the south end. In the middle of the room, up by the wall, there is a tree that's alive, and it's in a earth pot, and it's connected to some electric wires like a seismograph, like a Richter scale, and the paper roll is going around and around, and the little pen is making zigzag lines on the paper. Now, the south end door opens. A man comes into the room. He walks up to the tree, and at first the pen is nervous, going zigzag on the paper. But the man walks up to the tree and he says, "What a beautiful tree you are. You're the most beautiful tree I've ever seen." And the line goes very calm on the paper, just like almost making a straight line. The ninth man walks out the north door. Now, another man comes in. This is the bad man. He walks up to the tree and says, "You're an ugly tree. You're the worst tree I've ever seen." The pen on the paper is going hysterically zigzag, zigzag on the paper. He rips a leaf off of the tree, and the pen on the paper goes hysterically back and forth. The bad man walks out the north door. A third man walks in. At first, the tree is nervous. The zigzag line goes a little bit. And the nice man walks up. This is the third man. He walks up to the tree, and he doesn't say anything. He just stands there and looks at the tree. And pretty soon, the pen goes natural on the paper. While the third man is looking at the tree, the bad man opens the north door and just walks across the room to the south door. The whole time, the tree, the line is going zigzag, zigzag like crazy on the paper. The tree recognized who heard it. And then the bad man closes the door. Then the door opens again. At first the tree's nervous, but it was the nice man who said that you are a beautiful tree. And the whole time that man walked across the room, the pen was natural on the paper, not making any zigzag line at all. The tree recognized who was nice to it. That's why when you go out into the woods, make a little prayer ahead of you. And you say, "Great Spirit, I ask that I walk in beauty." The Navajo call it Hosho. That's Hozh. Hosho. I ask that I walk in the beauty of the rainbow, above me, below me, before me, behind me, and both sides of me and within me as I walk through the forest. And the beauty of the rainbow will be with you. And that is the power of the Great Spirit. And so you walk in beauty. Now on the reservation, they got a sign that says "Drive in Beauty." So just say "Hosho" as you walk. And ask that you meet happy, beautiful people every day, and that good things will come to you. I go out and I give money to the homeless people. Then I go over to the casino and I win it back. You work that circle, you see.
Right. Hey, Willie, we had a question in the chat room going back to what you were talking about, the Trail of Tears and Hitler's imprisonment camps and so on.
Yeah.
The question is, what do you think about the new FEMA camps that are coming up?
What you do is the FEMA. Now, one thing that FEMA don't understand is that one thing, you do not mess with Hopi. The FEMA, they took the 4 directions of peace, what Hitler called the swastika. That's from the center, the cross, and then one chief. Lay your fingers flat on the table. Now, one chief took the longest ear of corn. That's your middle finger. You see how it's the longest? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And he took the longest ear of corn, and he went east. So all the corn today grows best in Iowa and Kansas and to the east. Now, next to the middle finger, to your left, that is that's the next chief took the next ear of corn, and he went south. So the corn grows to the south, but not as big as the corn that grows to the east. And then the next chief, that's the finger on the right, took the next ear of corn, and he went west, and then the little finger is the ear of corn that went north. And so the corn doesn't grow as well in the north. The Hopi took the shortest ear of corn, and the Creator said, I will always be with you and protect you. And so FEMA took the 4 directions, and they took the swastika. Now, understand, it's an old Native American design. There's a rug at the Gallup, New Mexico trading post. The rug, I believe, was a Navajo weaving. It has a line in the center. On one side is a swastika going clockwise. To the west, most all Native American Indian dances are clockwise. Now, on the right side of the line is a counterclockwise swastika, because the Cherokee and the Eastern Indian dances are counterclockwise. Now, we live on the great snow eagle. The snow eagle is our Mother Earth. She has snow on top of the head and the snow on the tail. That's the North Pole and the South Pole. And now the eagle is flying in a new direction, and we're all along for the ride, you see. And so the Pilgrims called it bald, but it's got a bald tail, huh? So anyway, we're all along for the ride. Now, one thing, you mess with Hopi, and they're going to find this out, because the FEMA took the 4 directions of peace, and they put it, drawn on a piece of paper, the swastika, counterclockwise. Now put another one on top of it, like a double cross. See, it's like we being double cross. Now put another swastika on top of it, only this time put it at a 45-degree angle and draw it again. Now it should look like a spider. Now, right where the two have a double cross where they join, put a little star. Now, around the 2 swastikas, put a circle and write the words Homeland Security Weather Service. And that's their patch, and that's their logo. Fun and games, neener. But it's going to come back on them like they don't know. I'll give you an example. About 12 years ago, the American Nazi Party left Chicago. That was their home base. And they went to the Brandenburg Gate in Berlin. Now, like the Hopi say, all things happen in 4s. While they're doing a Heil Hitler Nazi salute at the Brandenburg Gate in Berlin, an earthquake measuring 4 on the Richter scale at 4 a.m. in the morning, the first earthquake in 400 years, hits Berlin. 13 homes lost their dishes and ceiling tile in Berlin, Germany. And while they're doing Heil Hitler, the East River broke through in downtown Chicago. The mayor was really, really mad because it broke through. And I'm sorry, it flooded out all the buildings in downtown Chicago. And the Nazi Party comes back to Chicago to a flood. They left an earthquake, came back to a flood. That is the power of the Great Spirit. You don't mess with Hopi.
Right. Okay. I hope that answers the person's question. Yeah, I think
can
so.
answer questions.
Pardon?
The Jewish people got their free state of Israel May 14th, 1948. The Cherokee in Congress of the United States, they voted to remove Cherokee people, and in Congress of the United States, that was May 14th, 1828.
Mm-hmm.
The 14 is a strong sign. To get across the desert, we'll follow a cloud by day and a star by night, and that's in King James Bible, the book Numbers, chapter 14, verse 15. And the Creator gave the people a pillar of cloud to follow by day and a pillar of fire by night. And that's how you get across the desert. On the Cherokee Trail of Tears, Reverend Baptist minister Bushyhead said in the book The Promise Kept, "Oh Lord, our tears, our cheeks are wet from weeping with tears on this trail of misery. Our children are hungry. Our elders are dying. Is there no cloud by day nor star by night to lead us away from this trail of misery?" And so over 4,000 Cherokee died of the 17,000 taken. And so they got to Oklahoma, a Choctaw word for Okemahome, and they were pushed by the cavalry. And two of the big clans, they waited for the third chief to show up, and the chief said, "Well, we got tired of waiting." So they said, "Well, then 2 is enough." So they named the place Tale, which is 2 in Cherokee. Qua is enough. So the capital of the Cherokee Nation today is Tahlequah, which means 2 is enough.
Right.
Yeah, it's like this is it. They were mountain people. They were not flatlanders. They were mountain people.
Hey,
they came
Willy,
from the land of the ginger blue. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, somebody else asked the question, getting back to the tree. If I trim my tree, am I hurting my tree?
Send us some love. Send it love. I have to do this. You're my tree, and I love you, and I want you to look beautiful. Just send that with your mind. Don't say it out loud because people think you're nuts today. Because remember, we live in just send it some love. The lumberjacks could do that too, you know. But sometimes they cut a tree the wrong way and it smashes their house, or it falls on their car. Oops.
Right. Well, that's just like to me it would be no different than going and pruning what you need or taking what you need from, say, your herbal plants, just for an example. You always give them love, talk to them, let them know what you think. Let them know you love them. And I know for me, really, for me, when I'm pruning my plants and such, or even picking from my garden, I find that if I talk to my plants and tell them my intent for what I'm taking and I thank them for it, I end up with more than double the harvest.
Oh, sure. Yes, it's like Dr. Emoto. He said love to a glass of water, and under the microscope he couldn't believe it. It turned into a beautiful crystal snowflake. And there's a whole book, several books, on Dr. Emoto sending love to water. So he got a group of people. They went to a polluted lake outside Phoenix, Arizona. The people all joined hands, and they sent love to the polluted lake, and the water became drinkable. They went over to Germany and did the same thing, and the water became drinkable. And there's photos of that in his book of Dr. Emoto, Sending Love to Water. And all the different, in all the different languages, amor in Spanish, Liebe in German, and so on and so on. It all works because remember, we are part of the earth, from the bottom of our foot to our waist we're earth, your legs. From your waist to your navel, we are water. That's your tummy. From your navel to your neck, that's the air. That's your lungs. That's the butterfly. And from your lungs to the top of your head, we are fire. And so we have 7 openings in our head. The Cherokees are the keepers of the sacred flame. And so long ago, it came from the 7 stars, and they carried it on the Trail of Tears to Oklahoma from Echota, the city of peace of the Cherokee. And so on crossing a river, it went out. It was carried by the medicine men surrounded by the chiefs. And so they had to get permission from a cavalry officer and said, okay, to send a runner back to Echota to get some more embers of the sacred flame. And the officer said, yeah, sure, go ahead. So they sent a young runner all the way back to Echota where he got the sacred flame, and he carried it in a bundle and kept having to add to it, any dried tinder or whatever to keep it going. And so they carried it to Oklahoma, where it still burns today at the Redbird Smith Stomp Ground. It's the most sacred of all Cherokee fires. And that was the covenant between the Cherokee and the Great Spirit.
Wow.
And so it was made from 7 kinds of wood. We have 7 openings in our head. And so now we are seeing it come back on us because nature follows mind. So if you send love to your plants, you put love to your food before you eat, you say thank you to the Creator. If you're with any of the tribes that are still spiritually aware, you take a little piece of your food with your left hand, nobody notices, and you put it next to your plate. And your thought is, Great Spirit, eat with me, or eat with us. You invite the Creator to eat with you. Because even in King James Bible it says, be watchful. You know not when the master of the house returns. And so the Creator comes up and goes, hey, where's mine? And you're sitting there eating. You go, oh, here, right here. Oh, okay. Hey, that's great. See? And so he's your friend. Be a friend, You'll get a spirit touching you. You get a chill between your shoulder blades like a bunny rabbit. And that's your spirit's with you. You'll get a gut feeling in your stomach. Use caution, and that's your guidance. And He gives you angels and guides and guidance, so that you'll be protected. And that's your purpose in life. Everybody's got a purpose,
Right.
That's from the corn giver. That's the maze. So look at your thumbprint. See the maze? The cops found out about it later that we were all different. But that's the maze from the corn giver. So you make a fist. You see the 4 sacred mountains. You put out your hand flat on the table. You can see the 4 ears of corn. The thumb is the shortest ear of corn. Without the thumb, you die. And Attila the Hun knew that. He'd go into a village and he'd cut off everybody's thumb. The whole village starved to death. Why? Because you can't hold a shovel. You can't do the dishes. You can't use a rake. You can't do nothing without your thumb. And so that's the hope. He took the shortest ear of corn. And you need that grounding. That's your roots. Without the roots, the tree dies. And so the Hopi are the roots of this earth. And that's why they all should come back to becoming the spiritual strength of this 4th world. Because we're about to go to 5th world. And the European people drew it, and they put a circle with a 45-degree line. And it's no parking, no smoking, no hunting, no fishing, no. And they came over here, did everything. They shot all the deer, they put all the Indians, they killed as many as they could, put them on reservation. And they said, no, now you can't do that. And they strangled the children. And so now it shows that our Earth is going at a 45-degree angle. We're going north to northwest. And so even at the major airports, like in Florida, in Miami Airport, the tower says to the pilot, use the north-south runway. The pilot says, I can't find the north-south runway. Why? Because it's on the aircraft is pointing to the northwest. So the ice is melting. The poles are melting. Eh? It's like this. About 10 years ago, there was an earthquake in Santa Cruz, California. The wife ran out the front door, and the man was taking a bath upstairs, and he jumps out of the bathtub, and he runs down the stairs, and the only thing he could think of to save was a big grandfather clock. So he runs out on the front lawn, he's standing there naked, holding the grandfather clock, and his wife is laughing at him. What's the spiritual message? Here's a man with nothing but time on his hands. And so the Creator said, if you guys don't do it, if you all have apathy and expect someone else to do it, then I'll do it for you. So a little volcano goes off in Iceland, and that's the law. The ice is melting, and so the little volcano goes off and throws out ash, and all over Europe, if you remember last summer, none of the aircraft could fly. So here's all bankers and Illuminati and Bilderbergers and globalists and all these greedy guys. They're all sitting on airport benches, and like you're a bad little kid, the Great Spirit says, you're grounded. There's all these men with nothing but time on their hands. Okay, so that's the law of the Great Spirit. So the poles, the ice is melting. Another word for pole ice is police. What color is a police car? Black and white. So here you have a black volcano dumping black lava onto white ice, black and white. So if you remember, the first world was purified by fire, the second world by ice. What do the police say before they shoot their guns? Freeze or on fire. See? Past life memory.
Right.
They don't say fire or freeze.
Makes so much sense. Oh, Willie, you make so much sense. You really you help people to really understand. You really do.
Oh,
You're
bless
great.
Your heart. What? I don't have no computer. I just got this phone, and I follow the deer around. I eat what they eat, and so I can make chicken soup out of a pine tree. Now, if you look at on the computer, Of the Field, that's OF, the Field, ofthefield.com, Linda Runyon, who lived in the Adirondack for 17 years. She wrote the foreword for my Outdoor Survival Handbook for Kids. Her grocery bill was $5 a month, and she lived on the wild food.
Wow.
And so her and I would put on meals for 40 to 50 people at a time out in the Arizona desert near Apache Junction, Arizona. And they loved it. It was out of weeds and cactus. And so we fed them. And you can see, if you look on ofthefield.com, she has a little book and a DVD. I think it's somewhere around $30 or something like that. But anyway, it's well worth it because no one will ever starve to death if they have that book and DVD. And she explains each of the wild food, the weeds of what you can eat. See? You can eat your backyard if you got a lot of weeds growing. Now, if you got a dog, forget it. Go to the grocery store.
Right?
Yeah,
oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. Well, I know where I'm at now. We got bears and mountain lions and cougars and you name it. It's out there, I tell you what. We even, what was it, somebody saw a huge hobo wolf just a couple weeks ago. I mean, literally all the way up to their front door.
Yeah. Well, on the Mayan, Aztec, Cherokee calendar, today's the day of the panther. I'm a day keeper, and I watch the different days on the calendar. Now, on the Aztec calendar, it's the day of the jaguar, and on the Mayan, it's the day of the ocelot. And so today's the days of the big cat. No, I'm sorry, that's Wednesday. Today's the day of the rattlesnake tooth. Now, the rattlesnake tooth is the sign of the medicine man, because the medicine man would take the rattlesnake tooth and he scratches the skin, not to get blood. He takes the rattlesnake tooth and he scratches the skin of his patient, and he rubs the healing herbs into the skin, into the scratch, so that the herbs will take effect on the body. And today's rattlesnake tooth. Tomorrow is the day of the reed. Wednesday's the day of the panther. I'm sitting here looking at my calendar, and I'm apologize. I got my day. Now the 27th is the day of the eagle. And Aztec, Mayan, Cherokee 20-day calendars, all three agree that Thursday is the day of the eagle, the 27th of September. And then, so the eagle is all powerful. Long ago, the chief said, "I love the warmth of the skin on my skin of the sun so much that I want to send a prayer and a song to the sun, because it's like the warmth of the Great Spirit, the love of the Creator. And so, who will take it for me?" And so Willy, the hummingbird, said, "What do you want?" He said, "Go find some, take my prayer and song to the sun." And so Willy came back with Wohali. Wohali is eagle in Cherokee. And so the eagle said, "What do you want?" He said, "I want to send a prayer and a song to the sun." "Tell it to me," said the eagle. And so the chief is saying, "Sun, dear, thee near in my heart divine." And he sang that song. And the eagle carried it to the sun. And he sang the song and gave the prayer to the sun. And the sun loved it so much that the sun cried and kissed the end of the eagle feather. And that's why the end of the eagle feather is burnt black. And so we don't worship the sun. We worship the power behind the sun. And so now the sun is crying, and we're getting solar flares. And I had a friend coming from San Diego, California, and they said, "This is the hottest 4 days I have ever experienced in San Diego." So the sun is crying. So you can send love to the sun, you can send love to the moon, and to the earth. We have 13 great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandmothers and great-great-great-grandfathers of the earth, the water, the rocks, the trees, the plants, all the people that walk on her skin, and you can pat the earth. And I give her corn in the morning and tobacco in the evening. Now, tobacco was the sacred plant of the third world, Kruskriza, that went down in the water. And that's corn in Russian. But it's going to come back on them. Yeah, because of the way they're acting. So they're pulling the rug out from under this country, but what they don't understand, it's like a giant chess game. Now, I don't play chess, but I ask questions. An official chessboard is 14 inches by 14 inches. And at one corner is a red square. That's Moscow. It was called Red Square. In the other corner is a black square. So when you become a smarty pants, you graduate from college, they put a black square on your head. So the power square is number 14. And so Khrushchev goes over to Nixon with his ego, and he said, "We will bury you." Well, when you point your finger, you have three fingers pointing back. So let's do it alphabetical. A, B, C. Okay. A, Andropov was buried February 14th, 1984. B, Brezhnev was buried November 14th, 1982. And C, Chernenko was buried March 14th, 1985. And President Reagan at that time sent Vice President Bush to all three funerals. Neener. See, it came back on him.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah. Hey.
So watch it come back, because they're doing it. Remember, corn is Kruskriza, and that's corn in Russian. So they're trying it again. No, you can't do this. No, you can't do that. You play in that water, you $50,000 fine. Why? Because the New York Bar Association, who makes the laws, chose the Soviet national anthem as their graduation theme song. That's what's making the laws. Take away your house. Remember, the bear gave the strength to the man who was sitting on the log. And the Bear Clan is chief of this fourth world. And so the bear, he was called a by the pilgrims, and he goes up to a tree, and he scratches the tree with his claws. So everything we buy today for the money's got a barcode on it. And so he scratches the food. One day he's going to scratch the people. He takes away homes. The first bank to take away homes was Bear Stearns. The grizzly bear's a cannibal. He don't care about the kids. So last winter, the Congress and Senate gave all the money to the stock market, and it was called the bear market. And so when you want to drink, you go to a bar, you sit on a bar stool, you drink too much, you run over somebody, you go behind bars, and you need an attorney who passed the bar. And so the Bear Clan, the whole bunch, is the Bear Clan. They don't care about kids. That's why we got 3 million children go to bed with no food every night in this country.
Right.
Yeah,
exactly.
Feed the children.
Yeah.
Don't worry about shooting a rocket to the moon for several $billion. Take the several $1 billion that you would spend on a rocket and give it to the children and feed them. Then shoot your rocket off if you got any money left. And that way the children can be happy and rejoice for you. But otherwise, it'll come back on them.
Exactly.
So,
hey, Willie.
Willie, what's up?
Willie, are you ready for your break?
Do I have what? Say that again.
I said, are you ready for a break?
Oh yeah, you want to break something? I'll break my neck. Break
no,
my
you
leg.
can't break that. No. How about just a break in the show for a minute?
We're gonna break.
Yeah, you can get a drink or... Oh, Willie, you are so funny. Oh, my goodness. Hey, Willie, during the break, we had a caller come in who has a question for you.
Okay, go ahead.
He's a little bit hard to hear, Willie, because he's calling in using Skype. So, caller, you are your mic is open. What was your question for Willie?
Oh, the pits haven't finished, so I had a food to drink. Woo! I love you guys. Your show is so awesome.
You had a comment for Willie? Woo! Okay. Well, sorry about that, Willie. Apparently, he has turned out. He turned out to be a troll. That's all right, Willie. He turned out to be a troll. So we just let him go. He won't be back in. But anyway, yeah. Yep. But anyway, he just decided that he wanted to be rude. So that's okay. Anyways, so let me see. We've talked a little bit about our trees and what we've talked about the corn. Some of my curiosities, Willie, is there was a lot of hype and a lot of talk regarding the planetary alignments that took place this past weekend, Friday and Saturday.
Yeah.
What is your take on those? Because it's only Monday and all, but I haven't seen much.
Well, what I would do in these times, because the Mayan calendar actually ended October 28th, 2011. The archaeological end date is December 21st this year. We are being watched by the Creator and the Watchers. There are many who are here from other places to help this earth to get clean because we've trashed it. And so it's like a big movie, like a drive-in movie theater. After the movie is over, the parking lot is a big mess of paper plates, plastic spoons and boxes and bags and cups. And somebody else is going to clean it up. We don't have to do it. We're going on to see another movie. And the lights all come on at the drive-in theater, and it's a big mess. And everybody leaves. So we need some help to clean this up. There is what they call a gyre in the Pacific Ocean, and it is twice the size of Texas. It's floating plastic bottles, cups, styrofoam, everything that'll float is twice the size of Texas, and it's in the North Pacific. You can look it up on them computers, G-Y-R-E, gyre, I think that's how you spell it. But we do have planets lining up right now. It's called a syzygy. And so I would have a bug-out bag ready by your front door. Put your things in there that you're going to need. Toothbrush, toothpaste, extra change of clothes, some money, and water, a good water pump so you can pump water out of rainwater or anywhere. And then if it happens, and there's a quake, because the warnings are on the Atlantic and Florida. A friend called me that 5 beach whales have beached themselves. One has died. The Aquarian is trying to save the other 4. That's a sign of earthquake. Now, the man who predicted earthquakes, and he was on the Coast to Coast radio show. His name was Jim Birkeland. And Jim Birkeland said that he was on his way to work in San Francisco, and 2 beach whales had beached themselves. And he noticed that all the seagulls were sitting along the fence facing in, not toward the ocean, but inland, like little soldiers. And so when he got to work, 2 days later, the earthquake struck, and the World Series baseball game was canceled due to earthquake. The building fell down. And so he told his fellow scientists, he said, we ought to pay attention to the whales and to the birds. And they said, well, Jim, you should think about retiring. But nobody pays any attention anymore. So if you have friends who have dogs, they will bark all night. Cats will jump around on the furniture all night. Birds will disappear from an area. Fish will try to jump out of a lake. And horses will whinny and kick at the stable all night and at the corral boards. Now, what I want you to watch for is have a bug-out bag ready. A lady told me, when the quake hit in 74, I believe, in Los Angeles, the apartment building fell down. Her father was still in bed. He was sleeping when the quake struck. And the rescue guys had to break through the wall and drag him out, and all he had was his pajamas. He said, let me go back in and get my clothes and money. They said, no, the building's condemned. And so he wound up with nothing but his pajamas. Have a bug-out bag. Put it by your bed. You never know when it's going to hit, because Mother Earth talks like this. This is stick-up. Get your hands up. She does not play around. And so pay attention. So then now the whales are beaching themselves. The planets are lining up. They've had record hot in San Diego. And so don't believe any of this stuff, because, like I say, it's got the word lie in the middle. And we're going to all go through it, because we all breathe the same air. And we have to take care of each other. The ocean comes in, the ocean goes out. One hand takes, the other hand gives. The taking hand, as an example, there was a man who worked at the stock market, and he burned his friends for $150 billion, and he made all money. His name was Bernie Madoff. The other hand was the giving hand, and that's the new man to pay attention to, and that was Paul Newman. And Paul Newman, with his salad dressing money, gave over $30 million so far to all the children at a place called the Hole in the Wall Gang. From his movie Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, he built a western town for children who were in the hospitals to come out and play for a week, and it paid for all their expenses. And so that's the giving hand. And that's what we have to do for each other, take care of each other. We've got to have love among people. And so that's what happened in the last 3 worlds. There was no love. Let's take a look at a cookie. Take a big cookie in your hand, a big cookie. Put your knuckles on the table. slowly break the big cookie in half. The part in your right hand represents the North American plate. The part in your left hand represents the Pacific plate. Now slowly break the cookie in half. That's our Mother Earth. The cookie represents our Earth. And you see the Earth fault forming. And so Mother Earth did a cha-cha. That was the old land of Mu. And so the baby remembers from past life and says it 2 times. And so Mu hizo un cha-cha. And so Mu cha-cha in Spanish is girl. And so Mu hizo un cha-cha, a shaky dance. Now the cookie breaks off. And so the left part rubs against the right side of the cookie, and it goes beneath the waves. So that was the old land of Mu. Hawaii was called Mu before it was called Hawaii. And so the part in the right hand, it shows the high cliffs of California, Oregon, and Washington. The crumbs on the table are the big rocks and boulders along the California, Oregon, Washington coast. And so the old land of Mu, the land of milk and honey, went beneath the waves. And so what's the first letter of California? C. What's the first letter of Oregon? O. What's the first letter of Washington? W. Make a word. Cow. What does the cow say? Moo. See? That's the word of milk and honey. And so to go to the beach in California, Oregon, and Washington, you've got to climb down the cliffs. That was where it broke off. Now the San Andreas is starting to shake, you see. They had 500 to 600 mini quakes at Brawley, California in the last week. You can see those things on them computers.
Yeah, right, exactly.
So don't believe it. Just watch. Just look. You can see. The Creator said to the Hopi people, I did not make this earth for you just to look at the beauty of it, but to see past cleansings and past purifications when you had no love among each other. And do not use those weapons of mass destruction, for we have weapons that are far greater than anything you could ever believe. And if you use them, we will be forced to use ours. And so it's like Grandfather said, if we don't do it, a higher power will do it for us. So like long ago, there was a fort cheating the Cherokees. And the women, they took a knife and they cut their hair short and they surrounded the fort and they screamed at the men in the fort. And so they had, if you have 1,000 women, selected 7 equal groups. And the first group would scream, we come from them, womb man. And the women scream. And so then the first shift, after screaming for 15, 20 minutes, would step back. The next shift would scream for 15, 20 minutes and step back until after the 7th shift screamed, then the first shift was ready to scream again. That way they saved their... And they would scream all day, all night, all day, all night, all day, all night for 7 days and nights. It's like 7 trumpets, and Jericho fell. And so the men in the fort, but Captain, we can't shoot. They're women. They don't have guns. But Captain, we can't handle the screaming. And so Grandfather said, if we don't do it, a higher power will do it for us. So when a woman screams, she can break glass with her voice. So on May 18, 1980, Mount St. Helens erupted, and she was named after the Catholic woman that made the first stained glass, the rainbow glass, for the Catholic Church. And Mount St. Helens erupted, and what came out of it was silica sand, broken glass. And there's a glass factory in Seattle, Washington, that makes artifacts from the sand of Mount St. Helens. And she was the first artisan of the church who made the first stained glass windows. And so that was known. One day, little sister would scream. So to look at the Great Circle, a scientist came to President Harry S. Truman in 1945 and said, President Truman, we have a new bomb. It's called an atomic bomb. And he said, will it end the war quickly and save American lives? They said, we believe it will. Harry Truman said 2 words, drop it. But before we did, we gave 1 week warning to the Japanese, and we said, get out of Hiroshima. We got a new bomb. We're going to blow up your town. After 1 week warning, the Japanese, they said, hell no, we're not leaving. And so the 20 bombers selected, the Enola Gay B-29 bomber, all the excess metal had to be removed for a fast getaway from the atomic blast. And so the plane was completed May 18th, 1945. And so the atomic bomb was loaded. The first bomb was called Little Boy, and it was dropped on Hiroshima. It was a high air blast. 3 days later, a second bomb called Fat Man, named in honor of Winston Churchill, was dropped on Nagasaki. A larger blast, boom. And so 2 bombs, 3 days apart. Now, on August 6th, the second was August 9th. 6 and 9 is the Oriental sign for Baal. Tuwakwachi is the name in Hopi of this earth in balance. Our earth is going out of balance, Koyanaswatsi, which is a sorcerer's way of life that cares not for others. And so, in the circle, 35 years later, next to the 45-degree parallel, the man who lived at the top of Mount St. Helens, his name was Harry R. Truman. He cussed, played the same piano songs, drank the same bourbon as President Harry S. Truman. The scientist said, Harry, get off the mountain. It's been given warning for 1 week, 1,000 earthquakes a day. Harry Truman looked at the TV camera. All America heard him say, hell no, I ain't leaving. And so on May the 18th, 1980, Mount St. Helens erupted. Boom. 3 days later, a larger blast. Boom. 3 days apart. The Enola Gay was completed May 18th, 1945. It's on the log book of the ship at the Smithsonian, and you can see that, and you can see Mount St. Helens, May 18th, 1980. What a coincidence!
Yeah, I remember that real well too.
Yeah, watch for the coincidences. That's what's coming, and the women are coming into power, and so the ship is coming in. Yeah.
Right. Hey,
yeah, go ahead.
Hey, Willie, there's another question. Do you think that the evil cabal is going to be... No, you're not. Do you think, given all the prophecies and everything that you're familiar with, do you think that the evil cabal will be destroyed?
Well, I would say this. This earth is a living being. She breathes. You can go to Kopati, which is the Blowhole State Park. Below the nose is Mount Humphrey by Flagstaff. Her nose, or the breathing nostril. The other nostril is about over by New Mexico, Mount Taylor. And so our Mother Earth breathes in for 6 hours at 30 miles an hour, and then there's a 2-hour lull, and she breathes out. She breathes in and breathes out, just like we do. The lakes are her eyes. The trees around the lakes are her eyelashes. The trees are the hairs on the Earth Mother, and as they cut the trees on the Earth, look at a lot of women today. They're cutting their hair short. And so we are connected to the Earth. And so as she goes in a new direction, she's coming into the light of the Great Spirit. The dark side will not be able to handle the light unless they come into spiritual love of fellow man. And Mother Earth is not going to wait for anybody. She's just going to go ahead and go into the light. And we're going to see it because the light comes like the sun comes at dawn. It knocks the darkness from the sky, and it doesn't make a sound. And that is the power of the Creator. And that's what we got going for us. And so you hang on to that, yeah.
Mhm.
So don't believe it, but just try it. Yeah.
You're right. What about telco? What about telco?
Let's say telco?
Telco.
What about what?
Somebody's asking you about telco. TELCO.
CEO.
Somebody
What
from
is
the
that?
chat room.
I'm sorry, I'm not getting that.
I'm asking now because I don't recognize it either. Well, we'll get back to that one in a minute.
Yeah.
So basically, you do believe that the cabal will be destroyed because of being connected. The evil's got to go.
Well, I wouldn't. No. Be calm within center and know you will be in the right place at the right time. Have no fear. Fear is F-E-A-R, false evidence appearing real or free every anxious reaction. All the news media and all the newspapers, they all put out fear. Look at what's on the front page. Auto accident. This guy killed. This guy's murdered. This guy went to jail. This front page. Always the fear. Always the negative. But look, you got to have the negative because if you go to Photomat and you say to the clerk, I want my pictures, and the clerk goes, well, where's your negative? And you go, well, I don't have them. Well, you got to have the negative to get the picture to see what's going to develop. I'll give you an example. I'm looking at this newspaper article. November 8th, 1990. Cyanide taints a Soviet river. The Daugava River is tainted with cyanide. On the opposite side of the world, November 10th, this is dated 2 days later, 1990, Amoco pipeline leak worse than expected. And it went into Ethel, Missouri. Crude oil has leaked from the Amoco pipeline and fouled 85 miles of the Charlton River. Total 4,000 to 66,000 gallons, which is opposite the Daugava River in Russia. Mount St. Helens, Harry Truman. Okay, look at this one. Pakistan detonated 5 nuclear bombs. India tested 2 more nuclear bombs. What is the largest animal in India and Pakistan? An elephant. Elephant is kamama in Cherokee. Kamama is butterfly in Cherokee. This is the butterfly effect. It's the new scientific finding. It means that it's the chaos effect. The butterfly effect means that the beating of a butterfly wing, let's say at the Sequoia Grove in Yosemite, the beating of a butterfly wing can make a tiny wind, to make a bigger wind, to make a larger wind, to make a huge wind, to make a dust storm that can make an elephant in Africa. So Pakistan detonates 5 nukes. India detonated 5 nukes. And on the opposite side of the world, Mammoth Mountain. Now, a mammoth is a sleeping infant. Mammoth Mountain, California, the news reported that Mammoth Mountain had a 5-point earthquake.
Right.
Okay.
Yep. I remember that.
Now, let's take a look. They blew up the Oklahoma City building. What happened on the other side of the world? A Russian pipeline exploded, shot a fireball 5 miles high, almost knocking down a Soviet airliner. And this was 8 days after the Oklahoma City building explosion.
Right. Hey, Willy, you've got another question, and this is going to kind of take you to your biblical. It's coming from the chat room. In relation to Revelation prophecy, and there being a time when Satan rules the earth, do you think that it's actually possible to stop these Satan-worshipping Kabbalists from fulfilling Scripture.
Well, that's that European stuff, because 2012 in the Mayan, Aztec, and in the Cherokee knowledge by Raymond Hale in their book Cherokee Astrological Calendar, the 20-day cycle. 2012, December 21st, is the day of the Lord of the Dawn, the day of the flowers, the day of the Creator. In Revelation 2012 is the big judgment day. And everybody's going to get judged. Well, la-di-da. Remember, everything that came on the boat came in threes. Nena, Pinta, Santa Maria. First name, middle name, last name. Goldilocks and three bears, three blind mice, three little pigs, CIA, ABC, NBC, CBS, FBI, BIA. These three fingers run the country.
Right.
The thumb up, okay, the thumb up, hey, way to go, all right. And then the judgment, the pointing finger, right, the judgment. And then the middle finger. Now, you know what the middle finger is. So those three fingers, it's in everybody's eyes. You never know which one you're going to get. To become a human being, you don't point your index finger at nobody. You bend your finger, and it points back at you, and you touch the other person. If they didn't do something right, you just touch them on the shoulder and say, hey, see how you are. What can I do to help you? You hit a tree, you bend your finger. You say, tree drinks water, I drink water. Tree branches out, I branch out. Me and the tree, we're the same. Tree's got roots, I got my roots. The Navajo people, they point with the thumb on top of the closed fist, and then they turn the hand upside down. My Navajo friend showed me this. And they say, oh, look at that beautiful rainbow. They never judge what the Creator made. The Great Spirit, the Creator made you. The Great Spirit made me. We all breathe the same air. There's different colored people, like there's different colored flowers for our eyes to enjoy. And so they point with the thumb upside down. The Apache people, they point with their lips to the right, to the left, or straight ahead. Like, who's that over there? They point their lower lip to the right, see? Or point with their finger. That's a European thing. That's in their book. That's all that Satan and the devil and all that negative stuff.
So this person is saying, that they're of the understanding that, after that time, that Jesus will return at some point.
Well, somebody's got to clean up the parking lot of the drive-in movie.
Yeah,
I guess
true.
Jesus is going to do it. He'll probably just have a stick with a nail on the end of it and a bag, and he'll walk around picking up stuff. Because the poor guy's going to have he's got a mess on his hands. What are you doing a mess? Because of apathy. Somebody else will do it. I have been to Los Angeles, and the place is a mess. They throw papers and bags. Oh, I'm from Germany, or I'm from Canada, or I'm from Australia, or I'm from France, or I'm from Greece, or whatever. So I just throw it out the window. This is not my country. See, I'll just trash it. Yeah. So that's to me, that's the Satan. I mean, our earth feeds us. The earth feeds us. Take care of it. That's all. I don't know nothing about all that stuff. All I know is that I've seen these things. I don't have no computer, and I know that the kids are going to do it, and the women are coming into power. And I can see that. Why? Because we're tired of boxes with our young men in it, with the American flag draped over the box. And that one day the eagle and the condor will fly together. And so we say, and bombs bursting in air, a gay pools to the night by the rockets, red glare, and they sing it at the ball game. But you go to the airport and you stand in line with your shoes in your hand, and you say bombs and rockets, they lock you up. In the land of the free and the home of the brave, all the braves are on reservations.
Right, exactly. I hear you on that, Willie.
Yeah, so
I hear you on that.
Yeah. It's like, there's an old Cherokee story, Why Dogs Bark. And so long ago, dogs could talk just like people. And they would go over, they live with a family, they'd go over visit other family, and they would say, you know what they did last night? You know what he said about you? You know what they said last night? You know what he said last night about you? You know what she did? And they would gossip. And then they would go back to the family. And after a while, other families would look at other families, and they would smirk, and they would wonder what's going on, and so on. And then the families found out that the dogs were gossiping, and they said, stop telling all our personal things. But the dogs kept going and gossiping and telling all the personal things to other families. And so finally the people went to the Great Spirit, and they said, Creator, can you help us? These dogs won't stop gossiping about us. So the Creator thought, and he said, well, I'll do what I can. I'll try to see what I can do. And so one day the dogs were, and they went to another family, and they said, you know what he, woo, woo, woo. You know what they, woo, 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 woo. You know what she, woo, 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 woo. And pretty soon they couldn't talk at all. All they can do was bark. And that's why dogs bark today. And that's why when you go visit other families, the first thing they do, if they have a dog, the first thing he does is sticks his nose into your business. So you don't want to judge people, because then you're barking up the wrong tree. Mm-hmm. Everyone signed up. Everyone's got a purpose in life. That's why you got the maze, and that's your thumbprint, and that's from the corn giver. And so the cops found out about it later, and they used it to track you. See, that's your thumbprint. Eh? That's your path of life. That's what you signed up for.
Right.
That's the maze.
Exactly.
And maize is corn. Yeah. And so,
right.
long ago, the buzzards were circling. They were looking for a dead animal, and the buzzards were circling. And one of the buzzards flew over, and he saw a pool of rainwater, and laying next to the rainwater was a beautiful bird. It was a dead peacock. He had never seen such beautiful feathers. And so the buzzard flew down, and he started to pluck the feathers out of this dead peacock, and he stuck them in his head. And he stuck all these feathers in his head, and he looked at his reflection in the pool of rainwater, and he said, why, I'm the most beautiful buzzard in the world. And so he took off flying, and he started circling with other buzzards. And he started bragging. And he said, look how beautiful I am. I'm the most beautiful buzzard in the world. And in those days, the buzzard had feathers all the way down from the top of their head, all the way down their neck. And so the other buzzards were like, oh, wow, get a load of this guy, you know. And so the beautiful buzzard said, well, I'm better than any of you because I'm beautiful. And he took off. He said, I'll go find my own dead animal. So the other buzzards, they flew down to where there was a buffalo. And they said, oh, brother buffalo, you know us. We are the janitors of this world, and we clean up your family when they die from the prairies. And the buffalo said, yeah, you're right. What do you want? And they said, we want you to help us to teach our brother buzzard a lesson. And we want you to play dead for us, and we will circle you. And so the buffalo agreed, and the buffalo lay down on the ground like he was dead. And all the buzzards were circling the buffalo. And they said, and finally, here comes the beautiful buzzard. And all the buzzards said, oh, beautiful brother, we honor you. You are truly the most beautiful buzzard in the world. We want you to eat first because we have found a dead buffalo. And so the beautiful buzzard said, well, it's about time you recognized me. And so the beautiful buzzard went down, and now the skin on a buffalo, it's about a 1/4 inch thick. And the only way that a buzzard can get into a buffalo is to go inside and eat from the inside out. And so the buzzard stuck his head up the buffalo's rear end. And when he stuck his head up there with his beautiful feathers, the buffalo tightened his cheeks. And the buffalo's going, rah, rah, let me out, let me out. And the buffalo tightened his cheeks tighter and tighter. And the buzzard was pulling and pulling, rah, 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 let me out, let me out. And the buffalo tightened tighter and tighter. And the buzzard pulled his head out of the buffalo's rear end. And he lost all of his beautiful feathers. And not only that, he lost all the feathers on his neck. And that's why the buzzard has a red neck today. And what do we call people that do not love other people sometimes, huh? And so if you remember, no love, the first world was purified by fire, and so the buzzard has a red neck, and the second world was purified by ice. And that is why the buzzard has white on the tip of his beak. And now the buzzard doesn't flap his wings. He just glides. An eagle will flap his wings to keep going. But a buzzard will just find the easy way and glide. And so when you take a buzzard feather and you hold it up to the sunlight and look at it in an angle, it looks just like oil on water. And look at the problems today with oil. Huh? Okay. And the buzzard was the sub-chief under the rattlesnake, who was chief of the first world. And that's why the rattlesnake has a diamond on his back, and he's called a diamondback. And he shakes it to remind us of how the earth sounded after it was purified by fire. And that was the buzzard has a red neck. So you can take a buzzard feather and pass it over a sleeping rattlesnake, or even an angry rattlesnake. Pass that buzzard feather over him, and the rattlesnake will be very docile and very timid, because the buzzard was sub-chief under the snake. The snake clan was chief. The second world was the spider clan, and that was the black widow, and that's why the black widow has two pyramids on the belly. And so that's the straight line webs today, the power lines and the telephone lines, the cobwebs in the sky. And that's why the Army raises black widows for the crosshairs on a sniper scope for the sniper rifles, because the black widow webbing is impervious to 150 degrees above Fahrenheit and 150 degrees below zero. The crosshairs on the sniper scope won't sag, you see. And so you make a circle. That's the sniper scope. Now put the crosshairs in the middle. That's the circle and the cross. That's the four corners. That's also Arizona, Colorado, New Mexico, Utah. Okay? But don't believe any of this stuff, but just go look for yourself, and you'll see the connection of the earth with the animals, the trees, the plants, and the spiders. You spray the spiders, you spray to the fleas, you give thanks for everything. Example, on Iwo Jima, the Japanese were going through the caves in Iwo Jima, the small caves, and they were looking for any Marines who had escaped into the caves. And a Marine went into one of the little caves, and the Japanese, he could hear the Japanese coming, and he was hiding inside this cave, but a spider started weaving a web at the entrance of the cave. And by the time the Japanese got there, the spider had completed his web. And the Japanese that knew by looking at the cobweb that nobody could have gone in there. And so to this day, that Marine sends prayers to the spiders.
Right.
In the concentration camps of Hitler, the concentration camps, the women in the basement of the concentration camps, they would have the bolts of cotton, and they would make the pullover rag dress that the prisoners, that the Jewish prisoners and the Polish prisoners and the Yugoslavs would wear. And the Nazis would go up in the evening and they would rape the women upstairs, but they never went down there in the basement where the seamstresses were that made the clothes, because those bolts of cotton were full of fleas, and the Nazis did not want to get fleas on them, and so the women down there in the basement could hear the screams of the women upstairs, and they prayed to the fleas, thanking them for protecting them. Mm-hmm. Every single living thing has a meaning on this earth.
Right. Right, exactly, Willie. Hey, hon, you got about 10 minutes left, my dear. So I want to let you go ahead and use that 10 minutes just to maybe kind of give the people some ideas and thoughts and suggestions on on what we can do to make the changes in this world for the better. I know we've talked about that many times, and and how we, the things that we need to do to work with each other and just make a much more positive change.
Yeah, the best thing, it's like to get the world we want. It's like you go in a restaurant and you say to the waiter, I want some food. So he goes back and tells the cook. The cook is like the creator, the great spirit. And the cook puts a piece of hot dog, bun, pickle, a little bit of sauerkraut on a plate, and the waiter comes back, he's got a cup of coffee, and he puts the plate in front of you. And you say, is this what I get? Well, you said you wanted some food. That's food. Eat. But if we know and we say, this is what I want a world of peace and love and happiness. I was a little kid, and Red Skeleton would sing on the radio, tra-la-la, tweedly-dee-dee, peace and goodwill, when you wake up in the morning on Mockingbird Hill, and he'd sing happy songs. And there was songs like zippity-doo-dah, zippity-ay, my, oh my, what a wonderful day. And people were happy. They'd walk down the street, they'd go, and they'd whistle. Nobody does that anymore. Everybody's sad. Like the man sitting on a log in the forest. When you give and you help somebody, it'll come back to you. Even that King James Bible says faith, hope, and charity. And the greatest of the three is charity. Help each other. Love each other. That's what's going to pay off. And so you go back to the restaurant and you say, I want 2 eggs over easy. I want hash browns. I want rye toast. I want a glass of orange juice, a cup of coffee. And the waiter goes back and tells the cook, now we wait. We put in our order. And the Great Spirit is preparing the kind of world that we want. Do you want a world with the devil and Satan and vampires running around because the bankers are all teaching the children how to be a vampire and all the movies? Yeah, is that what you want? Well, how about the Great Spirit makes your order, and the waiter comes back and gives you the world that you want. You got 2 eggs over easy. You got the hash browns. You got a cup of coffee. You got a glass of orange juice. You got just what you ordered. If you don't order it, you won't get it. You'll just get whatever. So I got a movie. I made a movie. Some people like my thoughts and ideas. It's called Hope. HDE. His options please everyone. There's 2 paths in life, peace and war. The movie has no words. It's only music, sounds, and pictures. I also did one called The Third Mask, and it's on the YouTube. So you'll go to willywhitefeather.com, and you look at the movie Hope and the movie The Third Mask, and you will see how the moon is the M.O., modus operandi, the way it is. Half moon is cause, full moon is effect. In Espanol, the half moon is the letter D, the full moon is the letter O, que son Dios, adios, ¿no verdad? And so the baby remembers all things from past lives, does everything 2 times. So the last word was purified by wawa, water. And so that's a G symbol in Cherokee by Sequoia, and the signs are reversed. Going up the first column of the Cherokee celebrated by Sequoia, G, full moon, half moon. In English, G-O-D, you see? And so cause and effect. So watch the full moon for effect. Watch the coincidences. That's how the great peace is going to come. The grandfather told me that long time ago. And so when the people see the coincidences, the great peace will come. Peace. Put everything aside, care for everyone. Simple. It's so simple. Mu hizo un chacha, muchacha. So the old land went down beneath the waves. And so the seaweed in the Pacific Ocean, it grows to 500, 600, 700 feet high on the ocean floor. And that was the hair of Mu. And so Mu hair is woman in Spanish, la mujer. And that's what's coming.
Wow.
Yeah, good stuff. It's good stuff. So have no fear.
Right.
So Satan rules the world. Look what's running the country now. Look what we've got. We're up against everything. Food that's been GMO and all kinds of poisons in our food. People are getting heavy. I mean, after World War II, the guys were in great shape. They had walked from the tip of Italy all the way to Berlin. They crawled. They fought. They ran all the way to Berlin. They were in great. They came home, and the girls were skinny. They were in great shape because they worked in defense plant, making bombs, rocket bullets, and everything else for the guys to shoot. And we had a uniformed enemy. And today, our soldiers are committing suicide. In the news, I heard that the soldiers are committing. It's doubled the ratio. And as many of our guys that died in Vietnam have committed suicide and backed out 10 years ago. Why? Because after World War II, the guys would say, yeah, I was surrounded by Nazis and I only had 5 bullets left, and I'm yelling, ammo, ammo. And the ammo showed up just in time, and we broke through that circle and so on. And the people are sitting around the coffee tables in the morning listening to war stories from the guys who came back from World War II. What happened after Vietnam? The minute a Vietnam vet opened his mouth, the first thing their listeners did was, oh, we shouldn't have been over there. We shouldn't have been there at all. I don't want to hear it. And they bottled up inside. They couldn't release it. And the guys had committed suicide. So I tell the kids, I talk to the kids in the prison, I said, don't do that. If I catch you doing that, I'm going to beat you up. Because you're the future. Don't do that.
Exactly.
Go get these Matthew books. Matthew was 17 years old. He was killed in an auto accident, and his spirit comes back and talks to his mother, and Susie has written 4 books on what Matthew has told her, what life is like in the real world. The one they call heaven, the one they call nirvana. We can only visit it in our dreams, but we are not allowed to see it. And I've had a near-death experience, and it's absolutely beautiful. So if you don't know about life, go get the Matthew book. It will tell you what life is like.
Right.
Your spirit goes on. Your body dies, your spirit goes on. So have no fear. Be strong. Make a world. Look at the eyes of a little kid. His little eyes of a little 4-year-old kid looks at you and goes, what are you doing? You're playing golf? You're playing baseball? Go make a world for me. Stop having all that apathy. guy.
Yep.
Come on, folks, we can do it.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
Remember,
Willie.
there's a statue from India. It's 3 elephants standing on the back of a giant turtle, and this is the Great Turtle Island. And so this is the voice of the turtle. This is a Cherokee turtle shell rattle, and now the Great Turtle Island is starting to shake. The 3 elephants, 2 are sleeping, 1 is alive. 1 elephant is Mammoth Mountain, Yellowstone. The other elephant is Mammoth Mountain, California. And the other one is the symbol of the Republican Party. And if they say we are Republicans, the initial WAR. If they make a war, watch the sinkhole in Louisiana. It is opposite Iran. If the 6-pointed star people make a war, watch Yellowstone. It's opposite.
Mhm.
See?
Right.
And we got to remember that. Opposite. It's called an antipode. And everybody who's found out about it were told to shut up. And so Captain Bruce Cappy found out about it. He figured it out mathematically. And and so it's time not to hide any more secrets. You see, Hollywood is hiding all the secrets. We used to wonder how Superman could fly. And there was a movie theater when I was a kid that offered you a month free tickets to the movies if you could figure out how Superman flew. But now all the Europeans and the Orientals have bought up Hollywood, and they're exposing it because they're all so proud of their technology. This is the camera we use. We use an X15 camera for this shot. We got up on this thing, and they show everything, and they destroyed magic. But magic is coming back like we don't know when it comes. Like I said, it comes like the sun comes at dawn. It knocks the darkness from the sky, and it don't make a sound. And that's the power of the Creator, the giver of the breath of life. And we are all breathing.
Right, exactly.
And we
I hear
take
that.
it for granted. Yeah, I tell the boys, I said, don't take a woman for granted. She'll spit in your coffee when you're not cooking.
Oh, that's mean.
Neener.
That is true. Well, hey, Willie, I want to thank you so much for spending the last 2 hours with us. I mean, it's always a pleasure to have you here, and just know you have a lot of people here with Freedom Reigns that absolutely love you and love hearing from you and your stories, and I hope that you'll be back with us again sometime in the near future.
Thanks, Beata. Bless your heart. Yeah, well, thank you all. I send you all love. I send you love. I do cornmeal prayer in the morning. I do tobacco prayer in the evening. And I ask that everybody have love among each other and that the love prevail all around the world. And so you can feel that. You can feel that. So put hosho when you go out. Yeah, put that rainbow around you and everybody you meet.
Right. Okay. Well, guys, we are out of time. I want to thank everybody for being here and sharing this last 2 hours with Willie. Willie, thank you again, and we will see you next time. Aho.